Good afternoon. My name is Paul Lombardi, plant manager at the Neenah Cold Spring facility, and I am a 27-year employee of Kimberly-Clark. Thank you for joining us today. On behalf of our Cold Spring employees, I also want to start by thanking Governor Scott Walker, State Senator Roger Roth, State Representative Jim Steineke, State Representative Mike Rohrcast, State Representative Dave Murphy, City of Neenah Mayor Dean Coffert, and Secretary Mark Hogan from the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation for being here. We appreciate all your efforts to enable our facility to remain open. I also like to say I'm very proud of the Cold Spring employees and the work they do every day to provide essential products to our consumers around the globe. For those of you not aware, this facility currently has 14 manufacturing lines producing some of the world's leading adult and feminine care products, including our Depend and Poise incontinent products and U by Kotex feminine care products. The Cold Spring facility continues to play an important role in Kimberly-Clark's business, and today's announcement that the company is keeping our facility open is good news for this community and for the state. I would like to now introduce Colin Smyser, a member of our North American Senior Leadership Team, to provide a few remarks.
Thank you, Paul. Governor Walker, Senator Roth, my many fellow Kimberly-Clark colleagues here today, and other distinguished guests, thank you for joining us. My name is Colin Smyser, and I am the General Counsel of Kimberly-Clark North America, the North American consumer products business. Back in 1872, 4 guys from Neenah, Wisconsin cobbled together $42,000 to begin a business. And so began Kimberly-Clark, which over the decades grew into one of the world's leading consumer products companies that currently employs approximately 42,000 people across the globe. Today, Kimberly-Clark manufactures products such as Huggies, Kleenex, Cottonelle, Scott, Viva, and of course, Kotex, Depend and Poise in 15 states and 36 countries. Our products are used by 1/4 of the world's population every single day. And we have a strong legacy of innovation. We created 5 of the 8 categories in which we now compete. Now, while our business has changed over the years and now spans the globe, our North American consumer business is still headquartered here in Neenah, Wisconsin. Wisconsin is our home. The majority of our global research and engineering also occurs here in Neenah. Wisconsin is also home to several other Kimberly-Clark facilities, including our tissue mill in Marinette, where we manufacture Scott, Viva, and Wipe-All products, our experimental mill here in Neenah, where we test new products and pilot global innovations, and of course this, our Neenah Cold Spring facility. All of this is to say that the state of Wisconsin is near and dear to our hearts. Now, running a global business oftentimes requires us to make difficult decisions, decisions we sometimes wish we didn't have to make. We are very grateful for the many proactive efforts to create an economic situation that would help enable us to keep this facility open. In particular, I want to express our gratitude to Governor Walker, Senator Roth, Representative Steineke, Representative Rohrcast, and Representative Murphy, who began this important discussion and who have been strong, unwavering advocates for maintaining high-quality, family-sustaining jobs here in the state of Wisconsin. Governor Walker, Senator Roth, Representative Steineke, Representative Rohrcast, Representative Murphy, thank you for your leadership. Thank you. I also want to thank Mark Hogan and his great team at the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation for their energy in negotiating this agreement that has helped create this opportunity to keep this facility open. Secretary Hogan, thank you. Now, there are many, many others who supported the efforts to keep this facility open as well. Far too many for me to list here. but please know that you have our thanks. But most importantly, I'd like to take a moment to recognize our employees here at Neenah Cold Spring. Undoubtedly, the uncertainty over the past 11 months that you've faced has been difficult for you and your families. Regardless, you have stayed safe, and you've continued to meet the expectations of our customers and the consumers who rely on the products that you make. To our team here at Neenah Cold Spring, and to our team elsewhere throughout the state of Wisconsin, the work you do is essential for our consumers, but so is the work that you do to support strong, healthy communities where we all live and work. Thank you so much for your commitment to our customers, to your colleagues, and to your neighbors, and thank you especially for your patience over this past year. Thank you. As we move forward, Kimberly-Clark pledges to be reliable stewards of this agreement, and we pledge to continue being a strong, proud corporate citizen of the state of Wisconsin. And now I'd like to introduce Mr. Dave Breckheimer, a fellow employee at Kimberly-Clark and the president of the local United Steelworkers Union. Dave?
Thank you, Colin. Good afternoon. I'm David Breckheimer, president of the United Steelworkers, Local 2-482. I'm excited to be sharing in the news that we will be keeping this Kimberly-Clark production facility in the Fox cities for years to come. It means these family-supporting jobs will stay in Wisconsin and will directly impact the statewide vendors that provide us the various supplies and materials and services, as well as the local economies of those communities. This is like winning an Oscar. I feel compelled to thank everyone for their support and their efforts along the way to make this happen. So I'll be brief with that. First, to the United Steelworkers Union for their aid in challenging the decision of this closure. To our government officials from the state of Wisconsin for enticing the company to stay with incentives. To the local leaders of our community members that spoke out in favor of keeping this site operational. A huge thanks to our employees for their support during this negotiating process. And for all the prayers this past 11 months, thank you. We look forward to embrace the business challenges that lie ahead now that we are staying open. But we are also mindful of those out of state that are being adversely affected by this news. Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce Wisconsin State Senator Roger Roth. Senator Roth represents District 19, which is this part of the state. He serves as the Senate President and has worked tirelessly to help keep these family-supporting jobs here in Neenah. Senator Roth.
Thank you. I just can't, it's hard for me to share with you kind of the emotion that I feel right now, and I'm sure you all do as well. Nothing short of just excitement for the possibility here with Kimberly-Clark going forward in the future in Northeast Wisconsin. I think what we see here today, what we are recognizing and celebrating here today, isn't a triumph of any one individual, but rather a triumph of many individuals who have worked hard, whether it be government officials, whether it be the workers, the hard workers here, the companies, the local communities, everybody pulling together towards a common purpose and a common objective, and that's what got us here today. I was a kid who grew up in Menasha. So for all you from around here, just across the bridge by Calder Stadium, that's where I called home. And growing up in this community, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more recognizable and more iconic company than Kimberly-Clark. So vital here to our community. Almost 150 years here, really one of the bedrocks of the communities forming around the lower Fox River to begin with. And I just want to thank the company, I know they do have to make, as Colin mentioned, strategic decisions at that high level, but I want to thank them for their continued commitment and investment right here in Northeast Wisconsin. I want to particularly thank the workers, the men and women, the hard workers here at this facility for all that you have done. And I can't begin to imagine the roller coaster of emotions that you've been on over this last 11 months, but I've talked with many of you, and you really were the inspiration, your faces, your stories that we took with us as we moved forward trying to make this into a reality. I particularly want to thank David Brockheimer. Now, here's a guy. I have conversations each and every day related to politics, but none quite like when I talk to David. He is very direct. He is very to the point, and I appreciate that. And we've gotten to know him over the last several months, and I want you to know, the men and women who work here, that you are very well served with him as your union president. So thank you, David, for everything that you have brought here. And with that, I'd like to introduce the person that I am, or talk just for a moment about the individual I get the pleasure of introducing. Now, this was, this victory we're celebrating here today, this is because of a lot of purpose effort by a lot of people, but I will tell you that were it not for Governor Walker, we wouldn't be here today. Here's an individual who could be doing many things today, who's got a lot of things on his mind, but every conversation that I've had with him over the last 11 months has finished with, Roger, my top priority is saving the jobs at Kimberly-Clark. And that continues even to this very day. Without his efforts, we wouldn't have had someone pushing at the very top. So I want to both welcome Governor Walker up here and thank him for everything you have done to get us over the top to where we are today. Thank you, Governor Walker. Thank you. Thank you. All your hard work. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Roger. I'm going to cheat and mess these guys up over here at the cameras. I'm going to come talk to you guys because I appreciate all you guys here. But this is really all about you. And that's why it was kind of nice. We asked we can come by today and talk about it, not just put a statement out, because I wanted to be able to connect again, as Dave's been with us and the rest of the team's been taking us around on tours, and we got other elected folks to go through. But really what it's all about is all of you. And I got to tell you, each of you got a story like this, one that actually got me a little choked up out there on the floor. I'm sure there's many like this, but and you might know who I'm talking about. I won't mention his whole name, but Jacob came up to me as we were going through the depend line and said he's got 5 kids. His wife is at home pregnant with their next child. And he said, this is a pretty good Christmas present. And that's what it's really all about, right? Roger and others talked about it. It was all the roller coasters, probably a pretty good way of putting it. There were ups and there were downs. There was a time when the assembly had a bill and then not. I mean, even thinking about this early on, and I want to thank, I'll be like Dave, until they give me the hook and play the music and pull me off. I'll thank a lot of folks, but it begins and ends with all of you. Fundamentally, not just to make sure you're here, almost 400 people and 400 families that will benefit because this plant will continue to be open. More than 2,400 people across the state, because this deal isn't just about your plant, it's about making sure that all the other Kimberly-Clark jobs in the state stay here. So this isn't a shift. This isn't say we'll protect this, but they can slide somewhere else. No, it's about keeping the footprint of Kimberly-Clark here, which in and of itself is pretty doggone important. I mean, I think about Kimberly-Clark, I think about Kohler, I think of Oshkosh Corporation, I think these are companies that are literally the namesakes of communities, but more importantly, the people are interwoven into those communities. So it's not just about the nearly 400 people that work here, it's about your families, your spouses, your neighbors, the people you work with, the people you do business with. It's all and then across the state, I know the legislative team who's been so wonderful in helping us push this and made the case to other lawmakers when we tried to take the legislative path, and made the case that there's about 230 different businesses, a lot of them small businesses, that do business with Kimberly-Clark. And all those people and all those families would have been negatively affected had those jobs gone away from here. And it's been a roller coaster, not only first and foremost for you guys, because more than any of us, but just think, okay, we got a deal. And I give credit to Kimberly-Clark leadership from Tom all the way through. And I should say, as a special aside, besides the staff that are in the management, I want to evoke executive privilege and thank in particular one of the leaders who's not on the payroll, John Bergstrom. John, you're good to have a board member whose heart is here. because as he and I have been talking a lot about the last few months, it's about understanding that the real issue here isn't numbers. It's about families. It's about the heartbeat, not just making a decision in the mind, and we had to make the two go together. I appreciate it from a corporate standpoint, as others have said. You look at the numbers, you got to make decisions. I was first and foremost just pleased that Tom and the team were willing to even listen to our plea to say, we get your numbers, but how about if we put this on the table? They didn't have to do that. They could have done something else. They could have said, that's just it. But instead, they gave us a chance to make our case. And then it took a little bit longer than we'd hoped for, and they could have said, that's it, forget it, back in April, and said, that's it, we're done. But they didn't. And then as we said, well, let's wait a little bit longer, and you guys all know because you were part of watching saying, oh, my God, what's happening here? And really goes back again to you guys, because one of the concerns as we were up here at the plant was no matter what happens, if people just leave, at some point you're just not going to be able to keep up with production. And it's going to make, the decision is going to be made by virtue of your actions. If there's not enough bodies and not enough talent to do what's required to keep this place going and to keep up with the demand of all the products that you make, that could affect the decision. But you kept on it. And then as you look, and we thought, okay, well, we'll push the vote back in the Senate. And then we pushed it past November. And then it didn't happen for all, I won't even get into the reasons because it frustrates me from one end of the spectrum to the other. But all throughout it all, you guys stayed focused on doing a good job, never giving a reason for them to do anything but think about you and your families and the impact in this community. And the community responded with not only the local leaders, but business leaders, civic leaders, nonprofit leaders saying, hey, we want to rally around the employees and the families here. And boy, absolutely right, Dave. Getting to check in with you, he is no nonsense. We just kind of say, here's what's up. And he said, okay, here's what's going on. But understanding that set aside everything else, our interest was shared. It's about all these guys and gals and about your families. And really just getting to the point of where we said, and I said this a bunch of times, these guys in the media asked me about a bunch of other things. I said, I don't care if it's the last thing they do. I don't care if they're dragging me down the hall. We're going to find some way to save the jobs at Kimberly-Clark because it's just that important. And so I want to particularly call out Mark Hogan and his team because they have twisted and turned and stood on their head and stood on the side and tried to figure out some way, somehow, to make the numbers work, being mindful of the fact that this can't just be an emotional decision. This has got to make logical sense as well. Tie the head with the heart. One can't be exclusive of the other, but figure out a way. And so we were pleased to put together a multi-year deal that'll put $28 million from the state on the table to say and it's for a combination of things. First and foremost, keeping the jobs here, really good paying family supporting jobs. As John Bergstrom and I were talking about specifically the other day, it's a great job market out there. There's more people working than ever before. We got record low unemployment, so it would have been easy for a lot of people to say, well, just go out and let them go somewhere else. But as John repeatedly pointed out to me and others have along the way, you all have fined your skills. There are people who have been here a good long time understanding how to make the products exceptionally well. I know you all appreciate, Dave and I have talked about this before, I love reminding people this is not a paper mill. This is a place that makes consumer goods that are at the forefront of not just this company, but of this industry. And the older they get, the more important they see them on the horizon, as I look at some of them out there. These are products that are not going away. This is something that's going to be here for a good long time. So it's first and foremost about the jobs both here and the footprint across the state, the thousands of people who depend, no pun intended, but who depend on Kimberly-Clark. But on top of that, you've got a company now, but because of our assistance, is able to make up to a $200 million investment in an expansion here. An expansion that I hope sends a message not only to all of you, but to the rest of the state, that this company is vested here. This isn't some short-term thing. This is about saying, okay, we make the numbers work, and now we not only protect your jobs, we open the door for more jobs and more opportunity. And you open the opportunity for this company to expand and excel even more going forward. In fact, that up to $200 million is a big part of our ability to offer those that package on the table because it ties into that capital investment. So it's keeping our workforce here and across the state. It's about making that kind of capital investment. And then it's about what I alluded to before. You've got over $50 million. Over $50 million at over 200 companies across the state who are part of the supply chain, whose employees and their families really are directly dependent on what you do and how well you do here. And so we're not just throwing money out there. We're tying it in directly to accountability, keeping and maintaining really, really good paying family supporting jobs, making an actual dollar physical investment and expansion here at this site to help grow and expand this company going forward. So it's not just about keeping jobs. Today should be extra exciting because it's not just but what's going to happen. It's saying, hey, they're putting a stake down. This company, Kimberly-Clark, is putting a stake in the ground saying we're looking to expand our operations, we're investing in our technology, we're doing things that are going to make us excel, and you're the team to make that happen. And then finally saying we're sharing that not just with the employees here, we're sharing that growth and optimism with all over 200 other suppliers and all the people who work for those companies all across the state of Wisconsin and all the families that will benefit from that. So, yeah, this is a pretty good Christmas going forward because we didn't just save your jobs for the short term. This is about a long-term commitment to this company, to this community, and to the state. And I couldn't be more proud to be a part of it. To me, if there was any talk about a legacy, I want this to be my legacy. That we protected these kind of jobs, not as a handout, but because we knew if we invest in people like you, you won't let us down. You're going to continue to excel, not just for Kimberly-Clark. You're going to set the mark for other businesses that are going to expand here in the Fox cities across the state. You're going to set the mark for other companies looking to come to the state of Wisconsin who say when the chips are down, people get together, they do the right thing, and the employees of those companies respond by excelling each and every day. That's the Wisconsin way. That's the legacy I want to leave, and that's exactly what you're doing. Congratulations.
Well, thank you everyone for taking the time to join us today. This will conclude our event, and as you exit the building, please do so safely. Thank you.